What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video in the same day. I know it's crazy, there's a lot of Sonic Frontiers news just flying out right now, but this video is going to focus on some brand new information once again. No retreading, just all new stuff for the most part. And by the way, if you're new here, once again, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can stay on top of this stuff. I'll be covering Frontiers and things outside of Frontiers for as long as I'm interested in Sonic. So we have some new information that actually comes from Game Informer. We just covered them recently, but they actually have more to show. And Phantom of the Night was nice enough on Twitter to compile this all up in a short little tweet fashion. But just kidding, there's a tiny bit of retreading. They start out by saying, the game starts with Eggman searching for an AI on Starfall Islands, but ends up getting trapped in cyberspace himself. A cyberspace level acts as the tutorial before getting into the island itself. Amy is also trapped in cyberspace, and you collect hearts to free her. Big is indeed in the game. There's a fishing minigame with him. Big's fishing minigame gives Sonic tokens, which he can trade for portal gear, fragments, diaries, vault keys, and other collectibles. So I guess this harkens back to those purple coins we first saw. Those are indeed fish hooks on those purple coins, and it makes a lot of sense. But man, the big man himself, Big the Cat, returns to Sonic. The greatest single character in all of the entire franchise. He returns. I know you guys loved fishing in Sonic Adventure 1. It's such a great mechanic, so much fun. Big just gets to enjoy these simple things in life. And now to see Sonic dwelling in Big's adventures is going to be great to see. But all jokes aside though, I never really hated the fishing. It's like 3 levels long, and it's funny to see it back now. I feel like Big may only be back in Frontiers because of a meme. Big has been like a huge meme, and maybe he memed his way into Frontiers. And you know, of course, in an open world game, they have to have fishing. Fishing isn't like in every open world game that I can think of. The other interesting aspect is that they say Amy is trapped in cyberspace and you collect the hearts to free her. I think it's an interesting mechanic. That's kind of like Zelda being trapped in Breath of the Wild, except that's more of a story thing, I guess. And you don't really have to collect anything to free Zelda. You just have to kind of beat the game and fight Ganon. But it's kind of a similar thing in a way. But it's interesting seeing all the characters we know it's going to be in the game. You know, Eggman's in the game, Tails is in the game, Knuckles might be in the game, Amy's in the game, and now we know Big the Cat is in the game. There has to be some kind of DLC that lets us play as different characters, because this is a lot more characters in the last few games. Well, that's not even entirely true. Forces had pretty much everybody you'd want, but just not in the way we wanted them. But of course, there's more. The Kuko are literally just Koroks from Breath of the Wild, right down to their seeds being collectible. Special Kuko can be collected / found to boost Sonic stats like speed and ring count. These Kuko can also act as fast travel spots, so that's actually really good. If you find them around the map, you can just use them as a fast travel point. That's a pretty cool idea. But the whole upgrading your abilities thing, that's straight out of Breath of the Wild by using the Korok seeds. So again, I'm not surprised they took inspiration from Zelda there in pretty much every single way when it comes to the Koroks. I keep telling you, Sega, just bring back the Chao. It's perfect in almost every way. Something I find pretty interesting is they say that the cyberspace levels are actually labeled like older games with 1-1 or 1-2, or you know, Act 1, Act 2 type of thing. And each of them share aesthetics from older games. Obviously not the new highway level we've seen, but I assume a lot of these levels are going to be like that. Something that's really interesting to me is they actually named a lot of Sonic's new combat abilities. They're called Sonic Boom for his mid-combo projectile, Wild Crash, which is that zigzag attack, and Excel Rush, a power-up when combo meter is filled. And that's another interesting new mechanic, is that there's a combo meter in this game. So during combat, it seems like when you fill up a meter, you can pull off a special attack. That may be what those animated attacks are, where he's throwing the wind and whatnot. I'm very interested to see how the combat works a lot more. Obviously, we've seen a bit more of it recently, but I want to get more into the details about it. How does the movement feel? How do combos work in the game? And last but not least, the LightSpeed dash is activated by clicking in the analog stick. And this is very different, because in previous Sonic games you would just hit the Y button in order to activate the LightSpeed dash. Some of you may be thinking, well, this sounds dumb, and yeah, it does sound kind of dumb, but I think it makes sense because of how many buttons are being used up in this game. So far, we know that there's variations in attacks, so likely a light attack and a heavy attack, then we have a slide, and then a jump and homing attack. All of those things take up face button, and the boost button is on RT, or right trigger. So clicking in the LightSpeed dash for the analog stick is not that bad of an idea, because a lot of the buttons are already taken up. We don't know for sure what the bumpers do, but we know Sonic can block in this game and parry. So one of them is probably block and another one's parry, and one of them has to be a dodge as well, so that could be on LT, LB, or RB. All of those buttons are filled by something. These are the most amount of buttons I've seen used in a Sonic game, and this is my little mock-up I made of what most of the buttons would be probably used for. The tweet also says part of the HUD is a tracking bar, so we won't have to constantly open up the map, which is the little compass at the top, and that's pretty standard. And of course, the giant boss we saw in the Sonic Central is simply called the Flyer. But yeah, that's a decent amount of information, and I think this is a lot of good information. I'm happy to see Biggs back in some way. The cyberspace stuff is interesting. Sonic's combo abilities, and now we know there's a combo meter that exists. LightSpeed dash being on the analog stick. All this is new and interesting information, and I'm pretty interested to see how this all goes, of course, once the game comes out. Let me know what your thoughts are on all of this new information, and like always, I'll see you in the next one.
Well, whatever happens, happens.